My guest today is Jennifer Urwin. She's the founder of Speakers Club Representation and the Club Calendar. She has a background as a speaker agent and as a lifelong small business owner. She was named a woman rocking the web in 2020 by Women in E-commerce, and she's here with us today. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the Soar to Success podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
Yes, thank you, Pat. I'm very excited to be here as well.
Good. So why don't we jump right in and talk about what you do, and then kind of more importantly, why you do it?
Absolutely. So what I do is every month I create a calendar of 200 events. And those 200 events are events that are in planning mode for future events. And then I would share that with a select number of people each month. So basically giving anyone who subscribes to our service 200 highly qualified events that regularly, have more than one event per year, are constantly constantly hiring speakers and looking for experts to, hire to have for their audiences to learn and educate themselves and grow.
Yeah.
Solve their problems.
What led you to be doing this?
It's kind of funny because I started out as a one-on-one agent working with speakers. And a lot of the speakers all subscribe to the usual memberships out there that are, matching up services. So, I don't really want to name a bunch of them, but the ones that are out there. And I found that there's a huge gap in those services where there's always a middleman, or you don't really know who, like on a job board, you don't really know anything about that organization. So what I've done is put people directly into a relationship building opportunity with a full detailed list of who they are, what's their mission, who's the right contact, what is their newest topic list or hot topics that they're looking for, so right desk, right time. So it's also like always when they're planning. So it's not when the event's happening. It's 6 to 13 months in the future. So you can get a jump into making that relationship before, maybe just before they're going to plan or right at the right time. And that is something that no one else offers. So it was a really unique idea. And you know what? It has been really, really well received. We have very high retention and great testimonials. So it's worked out really well, and have a lot of speakers that just love us.
That's great. Well, I think one of the great things about what you do compared to those others is those others just put it out and there's thousands of speakers that are applying for those positions to speak at an event or whatever, whereas you have an exclusive group, right, of speakers.
Yeah, of course.
You only take so many, right?
Yeah, so we limit it to 100 speakers per month. And the reason why we do that is because, like you said, a lot of the other ones have anywhere from 10,000 to 16,000 people all jumping on, let's say, 5 opportunities that show up per month.
Yeah.
So keep it really high and exclusive. We limit it.
Yeah. So
we're more about. I was going to say we're more about providing a high-end service than we are about having a massive service that maybe isn't as highly qualified, or we go through every single event before we ever launch the new month to make sure, it is the right person. The dates are correct. Everything is highly QC'd before we release it.
Yes. And so it's called Club Calendar, right?
Yep. It's called the Club Calendar.
Yes. And so how did you come up with that name?
Well, I it's kind of funny. It's just because it's sort of like a club, right? Like a membership.
Yeah.
And we were just thinking of something that, would be catchy.
Yeah.
So, and it's a calendar because it really is a Google Calendar share.
Yeah.
So what I do is I create a Google Calendar and then I would share it with the membership.
Yes. And so you limit to 100 people. So what happens when you get over 100?
Well, we're also, how we're different is we don't have any agreements or contracts. Mm-hmm. So we allow people to pause, or you go on vacation, or say they have 5 or 6 events, or they have some other work they need to get done. So it fluctuates up and down, right? Like right now, for example, going into August, summer, people go on vacation.
Yeah.
We're sitting at about 64 subscribers, but come September, it'll probably go back up, and then other people have other things come up. So it goes up and down. So we haven't actually had that circumstance where we've been tapped out and there's a waiting list.
That'll be great though, right?
It would be good. But
So
we're very flexible, and we like a lot of, I don't want to put any other services down, but we work one-on-one, and we're extremely flexible and easy with, people's changes as they, they go through whatever they're going through in their life, and we just work with them. I talk to them, I help them, I'm a resource for them as well. So they always know they can call me if they have a question or they're having any problems, and we provide tutorials. So it's a real one-on-one personal relationship that we provide as well.
yeah, that is great. So you can use your expertise as an agent. So what do you think is the one thing that people really have to have nailed down in order to be successful booking the gigs from your calendar?
Right. I think, because there's something that we do provide, and that is called the anatomy of the perfect pitch. So I think it's how to make that initial outreach that's really important. What information to provide. Many people will just send out like a monthly newsletter, or do drip campaigning, or and the same thing to everybody, and mix it up every 2 weeks or something, and that's not necessarily all that productive.
Yeah.
So what we recommend is that you customize, and if you were to go into one of our events, like how we set it out for everybody to look at before they ever do the outreach, we provide them with so much information. What's their mission? What are they all about? What are their problems? What did they do last year? Who did they have speak last year? So before they ever do that first initial email or phone call, I recommend an email. We can go into why I do that, but they know so much about that organization that they can capture, their attention in the first, opening paragraph. And that's what we teach. We give that as a tutorial slide deck, how to grab their attention right out the gate. And I think that makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is really important is, it's not the website. It's not the one sheet, it's basically, can you speak on stage? Do you have proof of performance? And do you have your materials properly set out? And by that, I mean, what is your opening promise statement? This is your topic. In one sentence or less, what can you do for them? It's not about you. It's about their problem that you can solve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having that set out, even if you only have 2 topics, what are you going to do for them? Key takeaways, proof of performance.
Yeah. And do you suggest they send that in the email then when they're reaching out, that information?
I do, but it's not the top of the page.
Yes, the top of the page, what's in it for them?
It was in it for them, right off top, video, drive them to that video so they can see how you are, how captivating you are.
Yeah.
And then under there, some teaser information, right? You don't have to go into extreme detail, but you also want to keep their attention by giving them some, let's call it low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Just to grab and go, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you recommend that people have a sizzle reel then of them speaking on stage? That's a must?
I think so. I think it's definitely a must. I have had people booked without having a demo reel, or just having snippets from, say, maybe some virtual presentations or online training or webinars. But you probably do want to have one. And I would say no longer than 3 minutes.
Yeah, right. Under 3 minutes. That's what you said. Under 3 minutes.
Exactly. Under 3 minutes. It does not have to be long.
I know. Some of these people make them 10 minutes long. We work in
They're
video.
not going to watch it.
People don't watch. They get bored after 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I know from analytics, that's what happens.
Yeah, exactly. They want to get in, see what they think, get a vibe for that person's, style and just how they present. And then they're good. They're on to the next stuff, right?
And how professionally produced does that need to be? Can it just be some different clips from different speaking engagements, or does it have to be really professionally put together?
I think that it can be snippet, as long as it's like put together properly, not like, big gaps, but as long as it's a smooth and it runs together nicely. It can be all kinds of little snippets. It could be interviews, then a snippet of, even like a Q&A, and then maybe a little presentation. So like a variety as well. So it's not just you talking. Maybe you mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Keep it interesting.
Yes, exactly. And so do the people that you are putting, the event planners that you're putting on the calendar, do they know about your calendar?
Some of them do, yes, some of them don't. So the database that I'm working from is from my previous experience with my builder relationship, from my one-on-one relationship as an agent.
Mm-hmm.
So, either in some way, shape, or form, I've dealt with them, networked with them, booked them, and, some kind of relationship is formally there. And we've had no complaints. So I never have some planners reaching out to me going, "Oh my God, I just found
How'd
out
you
I'm
get
on
my
your
name?"
calendar and horrified." If anything, they should be thankful, because it makes their job a lot easier to
Yeah,
have people coming to them than them to have to go spend hours flipping through bureau pages, let's say. So I think that, it's probably benefiting them as well.
yes. And are these mostly association type groups?
Highly association, but we also have industry and corporation trickled in there. There's a lot of like realty, and there's a lot of healthcare.
Oh,
There's a lot of really, really good like state, national, and then like I said, corporate audiences in there. So it's a good variety. We do stick to business related events. So everything is going to be, business. We're not going to be talking about, how to put a filling in, or,
yeah.
anything really specific or nichey.
Yeah. So for healthcare, for example, what would be an example topic?
Communication, I would say, is good. Obviously, managing change. Retention is high. Of
Yeah,
course, right now, everything is with, workforce.
I know. That's just amazing right now. So yeah. Okay. And employee engagement, leadership, those sorts of topics. And what about sales?
Yeah, or,
Are people looking
sales
for
as well.
Sales? Yeah. Okay.
Definitely, especially now, it's like how to close the sale during, this climate, let's call it, is a
Yeah.
whole new challenge.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
lots of people looking for tips on how to like what they need to do to close those new sales.
Yeah. Okay, good. Cool. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell us or share with us about the club calendar?
Oh, I don't know. It's we try and keep it really simple, like I mentioned to you. It's like, you get in, we give you some tutorials. It's very straightforward. The one thing is that we tell everybody, it is a time commitment. You have to really work the information. You
Mhm.
need to like go through everything, follow the links we provide with you, and then educate yourself. And if you do that, you're going to be really successful. We find that everyone who follows the actual step-by-steps is had nothing but success.
Yeah.
If you just kind of like whiz through it and don't really, work it properly, then you're not going to have that much success. So
Yeah.
there is work involved.
Yeah.
Nothing is easy.
Yeah, right. Even though you're giving them names and email addresses, they need to take action.
Exactly. Still need to do a little bit of work. So, we do provide 3 levels of membership. So depending on how many events people would want per month. So we have 50, 100, or 200. And that's, like I said, it's going to come down to how much time do you have, or if you have an assistant who can assist you in doing all that outreach, because
Yeah.
it can be a little overwhelming if you jump in at 200 and they're like, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this is a lot of work," right?
And so
And then you can always upgrade.
yeah, so if you wanted to get 50, is there a way that you can target that 50? So you might say, okay, I want 50 that are in these industries, or not. It's just 50 that you,
No.
yeah, it's just,
We don't have the capacity to do that kind of filtration, unfortunately. I do get asked that regularly, and I'm just like,
yeah. Yeah.
way too much work on my side to be able to do that. It would just be
Yeah.
overpowering, because I mean, how many topics would that break into exactly?
Yeah, I know. I can imagine it would be a software, probably an expensive software creation to make that happen. Yeah. Okay, good.
Exactly.
So tell me what you do for fun.
For fun. Oh my goodness, where do I start? um done a lot of travel, lived in Mexico for 6 years. That was fun. Love to cook, love to garden. We actually just moved into a 4-acre property, so working the land to be a little bit more self-sufficient, grow a lot of food.
Wow.
Love to be outdoors, fishing,
Yeah.
everything. Very
Wow.
active lifestyle.
Yeah. That's great. And are you living in the United States now?
I'm not. I'm actually up in Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada.
I'm originally from Vancouver, and that probably leads to another question about the events. All the events are US based.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how can people reach out to you, and how can they find out more about the club calendar?
Well, they can go to the website, which is just theclubcalendar.net, and all the contact information is there. They can find me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Urwin.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I'm easy to find.
Good. That's good. And so one thing I always ask everybody that's on the Soar to Success podcast with me is to give me 3 traits that you think that people need to have in order to soar to success. So what would those 3 be?
I'm gonna say that hard work does pay off. And I'm gonna say that, fortune does reward the bold. So, take the risks, do the gambling, because, sometimes that really pays off big.
Yeah.
And I think focus, pick one thing and put your all into it.
Yeah.
If that's what you really want, then don't get distracted.
Yeah, that happens to people so often. And sometimes all it takes is just some person saying something like, well, that's not a good idea. And then
Exactly.
get distracted. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you. Those are great. Well, I really appreciate you being on with me today. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully enjoyed it.
Good. Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Soar to Success podcast. For more insights into growing your business or improving your quality of life, visit soartosuccessmagazine.com and subscribe to the Soar to Success podcast on iTunes.